Hello, and thank you for tuning in to what is set to be a really fascinating discussion and a really quick fire view into one of the most successful businesses in Europe at the moment, a digital unicorn with a whopping value of 5.5 billion, and one that is currently embarking on rapid global expansion. And I'm, of course, talking about the one and only Klarna. So in this session today, we're going to be talking about how Klarna have been able to so confidently grow and make such impact and dominate in these new markets, all with the help of consumer insight. So how have they been able to make their brand really resonate in each of the countries that they've expanded to and align to those local preferences and needs with the help of agile research. And I'm really excited to be here today. My name's Sarah Hollinshead, Head of Content at Attest. Attest, we exist to make uncovering insight with consumer data just ridiculously easy and fast, accessible, reliable, and all in the hopes to allow businesses to make the right decisions more often and make genuinely customer-centric decisions continuously, and then ultimately remove the guesswork and grow. And Klarna really is an archetypal brand that we love to work with and support in their growth mission. And then also personally, pre-Attest, I've worked in the fintech and payments industry for about 5 years. And so having a brand come in with and bringing in some fun and some enthusiasm and some pink into the once stuffy world of payments is greatly appreciated by myself. So genuinely excited to be here with Roel today. Roel, marketing manager at Klarna, so involved in driving this expansion. If you could kindly just give a brief introduction to yourself.
Sure. Thank you so much. That was very kind of you and a good intro. I'm excited to be here with you today as well. So just to start, the valuation today is already up to a 45.6 billion. It's crazy to say, but the valuation has gone through the roof lately, which we're obviously very happy for. But yeah, that's just a small correction to the intro. Otherwise, I thought it was a very nice start. And just a bit about myself. So I work 3 years now for Klarna, and my job is in the market expansion team, all around marketing. And what I do is I set up the new markets that we enter, everything marketing, high and low, which means I can apply a lot of my marketing skills that I've acquired through the years. Before Klarna, I've been running my own research company for 2.5 years. And before that, I worked for a longer period of time for Canon within sales and marketing. So my background is quite broad in terms of marketing, and therefore it is a lot of fun to apply all these different skills when launching, setting up new markets. And that's really been a focus of Klarna for the last year and will be a focus and accelerated so the coming year.
Yeah, a very forgiving correction of my introduction there. Just a slight undervaluation from me there. But I guess with things growing so rapidly, it's hard to keep up. Huh? So incredible, impressive brands that you've worked with, Canon, I think Sony as well. So, just those international huge brands. And, I'm sure Klarna is fast following in the footsteps of those. So thinking about how you've been able to successfully grow across Europe in particular, what was the particular problem that you were facing that led you to say, hey, we really need some customer insight and input here, and ultimately led you to Attest?
Yeah, so before we enter a market, I actually do a qualitative go-to-market research. So it's a project I do every time to understand better the local culture, the payment habits, the online shopping habits from people. So we set ourselves up as good as possible for success. And this is usually done in a typical fashion of group interviews and one-on-one interviews. And we started last year, or actually we started 2019 already, first country being Australia, which was the best learning because it was the first country. Then came Belgium, and in Belgium, when doing the qualitative research, we discovered that when we talked about the product that we were going to launch, in the way we talked about it, people had kind of a negative reaction to it. Every time we talked about the product name, people didn't respond very good, and we were like, oh, okay, this is a problem. This is actually an issue if we want to launch the product successfully. So we need to do some more research into what would work as a product name. Obviously, you would like to have a product with a good name, and that's why we said that we need to do a quantitative. We need to do a quantitative study. So I'm not sure if I said qualitative the previous round, but I did qualitative studies before, and now we set out to do a quantitative study. And then I searched for several platforms. I wanted to do them online. I wanted to do them basically as much as possible myself to go for speed, because that's really what we try to achieve in everything we do with quality, so to say. And I found that your platform was the best in terms of price performance, and set out to test the platform by setting up a naming survey to test different product names and see what would convert best. So quite simply, I created a sort of simulation or real life situation where people had to buy a pair of trousers or actually 2 pairs of trousers online, and planned on returning one. And then we tested different product names and just looked at what worked best in the market, which gave us very good insights, and decided to change the product name to the better. In the end, we called the product Paying Within 21 Days, which is it's a very clear name, because it's actually telling what you can do with the product. It tells you how much time you have. You can pay within 21 days. It means you can pay at any given day within that period. And it just proved to be the absolute best name compared to other names that we tested. So this was where we started to use your platform. And since then, I've done several naming studies and also tested several other things through the platform, and it's been very, very valuable.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I think it's great that as a business, you are doing this before you are actively making those launches into the market. I think you always hear horror stories as opposed to the sort of, when it goes well, but you remember the ones that don't go well. I remember someone once told me about when KFC launched into China. I don't know if you've heard this story, but their catchphrase is, I think, still finger licking good. And they didn't address the sort of difficulties with direct translation, and accidentally launched into a market with a catchphrase that was something like "eat your fingers off" or something absolutely crazy, which obviously I imagine hasn't diminished their global success considering the strength of their brand still today. But a funny example, no less, of how you really have to consider what the local market is interested in and how you get the right messaging for them. So
I think the classic one I still remember from my my master studies in marketing was the Unilever example of Unilever advertising I think it was a baby food, going very simple with a country that didn't have a lot of literacy. So they took 3 pictures: the baby, the food, and then the smiling baby. Although in that country they read from right to left, so it went from the smiling to the crying baby. So they just blew up their product.
Completely different narrative. Yeah.
But a funny example as well.
Yeah. And so having this knowledge, how much of an impact has that had by coming to Attest, having that clarity over the direction to go. How much of an impact has that had for you when launching into Belgium?
Yeah, so I mean, over time, this has huge impact. Obviously, because if you are in a checkout situation and you choose to pay, or you choose between paying with a debit card or a credit card, or you pay with Klarna, if we describe our product very well, there is a higher certainty that people will choose for Klarna because we have a product that resonates well. Now, the more people choose, the higher share of checkout that we get because people love our product, the better it is, obviously, for Klarna. And obviously, that has, over time, it has a huge impact.
Can you quantify that impact? Like, what are the metrics you're looking for success here?
Yeah, so I wouldn't go into specifics here, I'm afraid, but you can imagine that with the amount of transactions that we do, that any small percentage has a huge impact on our bottom line.
And so it's helped encourage essentially that conversion at checkout, so the selection of Klarna over the other competing options that they have there for you.
Yeah, so I mean, our biggest competitor, as we see it, is still the traditional card, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with the pay later or the pay within 21 days product, but what we offer is a product which we think is way more consumer friendly, because you get the goods, you can check them out, and you don't have to pay. If you're not satisfied, you can send them back. You don't pay because you just claim the return and never has any money left your pocket. So that, compared to paying before you've even seen or received it, is for the consumer also a lot better, as we think. And then if you compare, and that's compared to a debit card, and if you compare it to a credit card, a credit card gives you a 30-day time or credit. But the issue here is that the moment you don't pay, there is a huge interest that is put on your purchase, and you'll pay large sums of money for not paying in time. And the credit you receive in a credit card is usually quite high from the start, so people can get in debt, can get into problems a lot easier. Whereas with our product, we don't allow people to build up this debt, because we want people are able to pay it off. And the moment they can't, they don't get any more credit. And we really try to do everything in our power to help them, because for us, the best consumers are the consumers that do pay. So we do very careful checks also beforehand, so that we assess that people, and we have very advanced models for that we assess that people can use our product in a good way and have the financial stability to do so.
And having that 21 days articulated up front is clearly eye-capturing for the consumers, and you're encouraging that payback sort of time frame and acknowledgement that's how long they have. That's all communicated and transparent up front.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to be super transparent in everything we do. We think that whatever is good for the consumer is good for the retailer, is good for Klarna. We always, and I think that's something also that Klarna has realized a number of years ago already, where we, maybe started out very much focused on the retailer and how we could make things good for them. Klarna has, for a long time ago, already realized that, okay, the focus needs to be the consumer, and what's best for them is best for everybody. And we try to build a really consumer-centric service or services, and the pay later is such an example. I mean, the 21 days differs. It could be 30 days. There's other products that have similar IDs that we've launched in other countries, like Pay in 3 or Pay in 4. But it's still the same consumer-centric thinking, where we say no interest, no fees if you pay in time. And I think that's what I like about our products, that they put the consumer first.
Yeah, absolutely. And using a product like Attest can make that possible really in a simple and easy way, as you said. Sure. I think just a closing question for marketers that are watching, that are trying to have a similar growth trajectory as Klarna and create these localized products. What would be your advice for them in terms of leveraging research and being really customer centric?
Yeah, so without research, I think the risks are a lot higher. So knowing, just simply knowing, Klarna is kind of quirky sometimes, right? We try to maybe communicate a bit by standing out, by being disruptive, but there's also different markets and different cultures, right? So an example here would be that I've just done market research in Poland, and obviously this is a very different market than Spain. And one of the things we do before entering the markets is that we show commercials and we show communication and we see how people react. And obviously we're not changing our tone of voice or the way we market, but we might tone it up or down slightly depending on how the culture is receiving our messaging. And I mean, research, having had a research company myself, I value it very highly because it saves a lot of mistakes, and it helps positioning of the product. It helps messaging, building the right messaging of the product. And these are kind of vital or pivotal when doing a product launch. So without doing research, I think there is you potentially lose a lot of value and momentum.
Yeah, it's eliminating as much as you can that risk, as you say, which is an interesting view on it. Well, we've run out of time, but a really illuminating discussion, even just in the short time we had, Roel. So thank you so much for your time. If you would like to find out any more information, please do visit askattest.com, or Roel and I are more than happy to continue the conversations on LinkedIn. So just get in touch directly and we're more than happy to chat. But thank you so much for tuning in and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Sarah.